The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us during this wonderful holiday season. I think somehow, in some way, the shows get just a little bit better, each and every one, as we are surrounded by the holidays. Everywhere we go, even in our mindset, it is awesome. If you're out there driving, listening to the show right there on I-45, leaving the Lake House, 59, Interstate 10, coming back from California, wherever, we're right here for you on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, a robust real estate hour from 5 to 6. It's super awesome. If you're out there listening on the internet, we're here anytime for you 24/7, simply by going to stewart.com/radio. That's stewart.com/radio. Today we're going to talk about some great things. Coaching, real estate here in Houston. We're even going to get in the corporate jet and fly to Pennsylvania and talk to a realtor in central Pennsylvania. Before we start, I want to remind you next week we have our chief economist, Dr. Ted C. Jones. He is so awesome. He's our chief economist at Stewart Title. A perfect time of year to talk to Ted about how this year went, what we can look forward to next year, what his predictions may be, and anything else for the full hour of the show. So it's about time to get down to business as Real Estate Matters begins right now with our first guest. Here he is. He's an author. He's a coach. He's with Red Hawk Coaching, Jeremy Williams. Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill, for the opportunity to be here, and really excited about the lineup that you have today and that next week with Ted Jones. That's going to be amazing.
He's awesome because 24/7, that's all he does. He sleeps very little. He's checking all the real estate key points and indicators. He really is, year in, year out. He loves this. He thrives. So, yes, it will be great. But in the meantime, Red Hawk Coaching. First of all, Jeremy, let's tell people about your company.
My coaching company started back in 2017. I was really a coach beginning back in 2010 when I was affiliated with Keller Williams in Greater Houston. And so been a part of the Memorial offices, the Woodlands, and Kingwood. In 2017, made the decision to go out on my own and really focus on developing something that's customized to the real estate agent. I don't coach just real estate agents, real estate brokers, or mortgage brokers, real estate brokers, insurance agents, small business owners. But primarily, I'd say 80 to 90% of my business, real estate agents.
And that's awesome because there's a whole bunch of them here in Houston. And the interesting thing is that whether you're new to real estate or you have been in it 20 years, coaching, I would think, just like a professional athlete, coaching is so important for us to have on a regular basis.
Well, I believe it's the ultimate shortcut. And there's so many different ways to do it. Whether you're new or been in the business for years, it's always changing. You've probably noticed in the last few years the change, and especially with COVID and the way that we change and the way we do our business. And so there's always new things to learn. And when you can have a coach by your side where you can ask questions, bounce things off of, and what my superpower is being able to see into the blind spots of my clients and helping them, figure out the solution that they own and take out and implement in their business.
And in fact, whatever we do, I think having a second opinion, having another set of eyes and another mind helping you navigate, even in a personal situation, but certainly business, that really helps. And many of the real estate professionals, if we look at the real estate professional, that is, a lot of them are working by themselves. Yes, some are with a team, but especially I think if you're by yourself, that coaching really can enhance the business.
Yeah, it works with both the individual agent and the teams, and you're just coaching on different matters. And I like how you brought up the fact that it is not just about business; it's also about life. In order to have a great business, oftentimes you have to have things working in your world, your personal world. If not, it tends to fall into your business and not you're not able to achieve your potential. And so I appreciate bringing that up because it really is a balance of both.
I mentioned you're an author. The book is called Survive, Scale, and Soar. And this recently came out, right, Jeremy?
It's only been out for about a month. It's an Amazon bestseller, and really excited about it. I took a lot of my personal journeys of my coaching clients, and of course didn't name them in the book, but intertwined it into the book to give people an opportunity to not only be able to be successful both in their business but also in life. And so it's not just a business book. It's also a great book. I actually wrote it to my son and my daughter. My daughter's I'm going to be 15 and driving soon. That's a little scary. My son's 12 and in middle school, but I wrote it to them as essentially a handbook to help them navigate the world that's ahead of them.
We're talking with Jeremy Williams, Red Hawk Coaching, and right now we're talking about his book, Survive, Scale, and Soar. Give people an idea, if you would, Jeremy, about some of the things they'll find in this book. I like that it's not a gigantic book. It looks like you could read this, maybe make some notes along the way, and finish it in a week, and then refer to it periodically.
I didn't want to make it one of those novels because most everybody wouldn't get through it. I made it very succinct. It's 7 different points. One of them, for instance, is clarity, and I start with that one. If you don't have clarity in what you're doing, or a lot of times we equate that in the coaching world to your why, it's going to be very challenging to know the direction you need to go in order to be successful and achieve those goals that you have set in your mind.
And also, as you mentioned, it's an Amazon bestseller. How does that happen so quickly? That's exciting. You must be happy about that.
Extremely happy. I got a great publisher, Mike Fallett. He's out of Pittsburgh, and worked together with him and Dreamstarter Publishing, and brought to him my book, and we worked together with his team. And within a month of me starting that process, we had the book out. And it was just a process of getting people to jump on and buy it that day. And it's all a system, and helped me achieve that accomplishment that I'd been working toward for a long time.
How long did it take to write, roughly?
For me, it was off and on. Great writers will write every day. It took me about 3 years.
And you already mentioned about clarity. That is a chapter on page 18 if people already have the book. However, how about this chapter? It says, be the turtle. Give us a word on that one.
So it goes back to the turtle and the hare. And we know in the story who wins that race. And a lot of times I see in the world today is that everything's moving fast, and especially our agents are moving really fast because of the amount of information that's out there. And sometimes it's important just to slow down and take that all in, reflect. I always have 3 great questions that I ask. What did you do well? What did you do not so well? And what can you do to get better tomorrow? And that's the mindset of somebody that's acting as the turtle. It's just that constant and consistent work over time with intentionality.
And if someone, as far as the candidates for your coaching, they could be a real estate individual, a broker, even a real estate team. Mm-hmm. And are you helping people just in Houston, or do you go beyond?
I'm helping people all over the country. So, in fact, just signed a person I know we're going to be traveling out that way today, Philadelphia. Just signed up a client this last week, primarily in Texas, but I've had people as far as New Jersey, Alabama, all over.
Let's tell people how your process works. Let's say someone's right here in Houston, Texas, and they say, hey, Jeremy, I'm a real estate professional. I've been at a company for 10 years now. I want to go to the next level. How does the process work? What kind of questions do you ask? What happens next?
The first thing I want to do is we do a discovery call, and it's an opportunity for me to interview them and for them to interview me first to see if we're the right fit. If we're not, I've got a world of coaches that I know that I can direct them to that might be a better fit, because at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is the success of that person. And then we'll go through different questions depending on if they're an individual or a team, on what are their goals, what's driving them to their goals, what's their big why, who they have in place, what's their finances look like, do they operate with a P&L statement, and if they don't, a lot of times they don't. It's helping them figure out what those next steps would be, and that would be hiring a coach and taking a step there. So the first thing would be business plan. getting their calendar put together, and then working on their P&L, which is their financial statement.
And do they mention to you certain areas where they're having trouble? Does that happen in this discovery meeting or call?
Yeah, typically I ask them what their biggest challenge is, and it's all over the board. Sometimes it's a specific member. If they've got a team, it's a team member. It could be finances. It could be they're just getting started and they don't even know where to go. So it's kind of all over the board, but I open up with that question is what is your biggest challenge, and why are we talking today? And usually within the first few minutes, I know exactly what's going on in their business.
Well, one of the things I was getting at, you probably figured it out, is that it's all over the board. But as far as their biggest challenge with the real estate professionals, do you hear certain things over and over again? Or if so, what are they, or one or two?
It's usually lead generation. Where do I find my next lead? How do I work online leads? I try to steer them away from that and teach them how to build a business organically. It could be, time. Time's a big one. I feel like I'm working, 16, 18 hours a day, and it doesn't necessarily match their income. Their audio and their visual doesn't necessarily match up. And so, sometimes it's time, or I want to get more time with my kids. I feel like I'm working all the time. I'm missing their events. And one of the things I really pride myself in is helping them find time freedom. And, that's being able to build and have a really successful business, yet at the same time not having to sacrifice everything in life. And you see that a lot in the industry where they're making sacrifices.
Yeah, there you go, back to that work-life balance. We have to have things in balance to be able to perform in all the areas.
And sometimes it's counterbalance. Sometimes it's not necessarily balance. I think balance is insanity. But counterbalance, sometimes it might be you are spending more time in your work, but then you got to swing back to the other side, make sure you're spending that time with your family, or if you have kids, or if you don't, and you just want to go take time out and travel. Making sure that those things happen, because we only get one shot at life, and we got to make the best of it.
As far as your book goes, do you have plans? I know it's early. It's been out a month. Are you thinking about even another book? Sounds like you've enjoyed the experience so far.
Actually starting on another book, and it's going to be basically a thought of the day for 365 days. So each day, almost like a devotional where they can go and they can read it and just start out their day, being in positivity and looking forward and not backwards. I love John Maxwell wrote the book, Happiness Today Matters. And I think that's really important, because sometimes we get so focused on what's already happened. It's already written. It's already in stone. You can't change it. In the future, it's way out there. We don't know. Even tomorrow, we don't know what's going to happen, but we can change what happens today.
And we have about a minute and a half left, Jeremy. What else do you want people to know about your business or anything else?
I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm now a best-selling author. I am a coach, and I really love what I do. I love helping people. The biggest thing I get from what I do is seeing somebody win. And that's what coaching is about. I truly believe is when I can pull myself out of it. I don't like the recognition. I had a client say, I really appreciate what you're doing for me. And I don't like that, because they're still putting in the work. And so I'm just really excited when they win and I see them do it and they take some of the things that we've implemented and talked about.
That sounds good. And Jeremy, how can people reach out to you?
The best way to get a hold of me is redhawkcoaching.com. And if you're interested in setting up a discovery call, there's a button right at the top. Just click on that, fill it out, and we can talk some over the phone about what coaching might look like in your business. Or you can call me at 281-387-7689.
Red Hawk, like the bird.
Like the bird.
redhawkcoaching.com. It's that easy. Thank you, Jeremy, for being on the show. And, of course, if they want the book, they can go right to Amazon or wherever books are sold.
Yeah, they can go right to Amazon or redhawkcoaching.com/book.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Bill, for the opportunity.
Let's welcome Valerie Blank. She is with RE/MAX Integrity, a super real estate professional right here. Hey, Valerie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Bill. I'm excited to be here.
Well, here we are. It's funny. We met. I called about a listing in some faraway place, Waller, Texas, if you will, and I found you, and we looked at a house, and I said, this Valerie is so awesome. I'm going to invite her on the show, and here you are. So thank you for being here. Let's tell people about your company and how you're approaching real estate right now.
Okay. I've been a realtor since 2006 and rode the market all the way down during the initial crash. And I've been with RE/MAX Integrity since 2008. And the standing joke in our office is that I passed 3 other RE/MAX offices to get to my office. It's such a fantastic group of people, and the owners are amazing.
Right there. That's a testimony to your office and the people you're working with. That's exciting. Mm-hmm. And I bet they tell people that a lot.
She does.
Well, Valerie comes right here all the time. So as far as your approach, Valerie, is it geographic, referrals, or how does that work?
I really work to earn people's trust and build referral relationships. So I'd say about 80% of my business is referral driven. I do post on social media and get some contacts that way and through online ads, but 80% of it's referrals from past clients.
And we know that the real estate market is really blazing right now, not just here, but elsewhere. Something special about Texas and Houston. Let's describe some of the places that you've been helping buyers and sellers as far as the city. I know Spring, you helped someone in Waller. But let's tell people how you see the market right now versus, years ago, or even 3 years ago maybe.
I probably get asked 3 times a day, is this a bubble?
Is this a bubble? There's your 4th time.
And it absolutely is not a bubble. The big difference back in the early 2000s, lenders were not qualifying people. They were giving loans based on stated income, and it was 100% financing with no money down. Now, lenders have very strict rules. People have to qualify and show that they're credit worthy. The average American is putting 16% down payments, so they've got skin in the game that they're not going to walk away from. But the biggest issue right now is it's a supply and demand problem. And there are, between the millennials and the Gen Zs, you've got about 130 million people entering the housing market in the last few years.
Whoa, back up one more. Let's state that again. That's a big number.
130 million people entering the housing market in the last few years and upcoming in the next few years. And they are only building 1.6 million homes nationally. So you're going to have a supply and demand issue for years to come. Goldman Sachs has stated that. I know all of the big CEOs of the major firms, RE/MAX, Redfin, Keller Williams, they're all stating very similar facts. But the demand is just too great for the supply. And we're getting more and more landlocked depending on the town you're from. Small cities are really going to incur a hardship with that. The bigger cities that aren't landlocked, like Houston and Texas overall, have more room to expand. And because we don't have a state income tax and we're very corporate friendly for businesses to operate in Texas, you see companies migrating to Texas in droves. So even though things are supposed to stabilize pricing-wise a little bit, the demand is still there, and you're still going to have multiple offers on properties, and it's not going to get any better anytime soon.
For the buyer, the potential buyer that is listening right now, they may be driving from another state right now to be here. Mm-hmm. That's kind of bad news. How do you coach the buyer at this point when you're telling it like it is, how you see it in your various markets, but how are you coaching the buyer, and how are people generally responding to the realities?
I think sometimes the buyers have to lose one or two before they're convinced that you're telling them the truth and that they're not just being taken advantage of and overpaying for a property. I still think it's a great time to buy because interest rates are at historic lows and they have not increased like other areas of inflation have so far. They are expected to go up, but with the demand growing and the supply shortage and interest rates so low, you're still getting in at the perfect time of the bell curve. If you look at a bell curve of market industry that runs about 7 to 10 years, we're only on year 1 or 2, so we're still ramping up on that change. So it has not plateaued, and it's still a great time to get into the market.
So get in while you can. As far as we're talking about interest rates, I've never seen them this low, this long. I wonder how long they're going to last in this lower realm. what are we expecting, or what are some of these people saying that's going to happen?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it hasn't gone up already, but I would say within the next year, you're probably looking at a percentage increase. So right now we're hovering around 3.25%, and probably 4 to 4.5% is realistic.
Yeah,
So
we'll
that
see.
will impact buying power for buyers. The best thing buyers can do is to be patient and not get frustrated with the process, because I truly believe when it's the right house for you, it will happen. And you just have to believe that somebody's guiding your journey, and you're going to find what's meant for you.
Well, a lot of people are saying, I hope so. And sometimes in life, that is how it happens. So we can only worry so much as far as sellers go. What are you telling the sellers right now? Let's say someone's in Spring, Texas, and they say, hey, Valerie, I think it's time to sell. How do you coach that seller?
I actually inquire about what their long-term goals are, what they're trying to achieve. Are they wanting to get a bigger home, downsize? Is it a lifestyle change? Is it a money decision? And then we strategize. I have one example. I have a client who had a home and she wanted to know whether to sell it or keep it as a rental property, as an investment property. And I ran numbers for her. I have a designation called a residential financial consultant, so it's only pertaining to real estate. But I can run ROI analyses and different scenarios to show what the pros and cons are for holding or buying. And we determined with their situation, it was much better for them to hold on to it and use it as a rental property. I've had other clients who it makes a lot more sense to sell because they're wanting to downsize. So get that big home sold now and make the money. And if you're going to upsize, I think now is a great time to buy because of the interest rates being so low. So you're not going to have that opportunity for very long.
Well, it sounds like you and your company have some certain tools that are there to help buyers and sellers. Tell us about those.
I have multiple tools, and I also have several consumer reports. I have everything from expired listings, downsizing guide, investors, and I have a real estate planning guide that is very complex and very detailed, and it will take in consideration what you want to achieve from a financial standpoint and how real estate may be a component of that. So it's a great working tool, workshop, and I offer that as a free guide I can send you. You can either reach out to me by email or text me, and there's no charge at all, and it's yours.
Well, let's tell
on the
people
way.
your phone number, how they can reach out to you.
Okay, my cell phone is 713-515-2135, and you can just text me. Please send me the real estate planning guide, or my website is valsthekey.com.
Vals, VALS, thekey.com.
Correct.
And the number again is 713-515-2135. And you know what I know about that number, Valerie? Is that when you call it, you actually answered the phone when I called your number.
I did.
I can't say that for a lot. Now, some people are busy. I understand that. I know you would agree. When someone calls, it's really important to answer that phone because you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. And if I don't answer, I'm very, very diligent about calling right back when I'm available.
Awesome. So also, as far as all the things you could be doing in the world, it doesn't have to be real estate, but how did you choose the real estate profession?
I was actually a healthcare executive for many, many years and traveled 5 days a week. And our kids were getting to junior high and high school age, and my husband said, why don't you retire and get off the road? And I lasted 60 days as a retiree, and he kicked me out and told me to get a job because retirement was not working for our family. I was too bored.
But in the meantime, that's one of the things I know as far as a traveling job. It was every bit of 30 years I was in some kind of traveling profession, driving, flying, going all over the country and things like that. I'm just glad I did it years ago because right now traveling is extra tough. I don't miss it one bit. Do you?
No, other than for leisure, which the last 2 years have slowed down, but that's okay.
We have about 2 minutes left. What else do you want people to know, Valerie, as far as the world out there in real estate? And certainly, sounds like you're kind of focusing on the west, northwest. Would that be safe to say?
I work all throughout Houston. If it's an area I'm not comfortable in, I have relationships throughout the city where I can refer someone if I'm not comfortable with the type of property they're selling or buying, or if it's an area I'm not familiar with, so that they get the best advice. But I think the best thing people can do is realize that real estate is one of your largest assets in your net worth, and don't just chance that to working with a friend or a part-time agent. Really interview your agents and make a conscious decision to work with a trusted professional that's going to protect you, because the market's changing so rapidly. And like you said, with multiple offers, if an agent doesn't know what they're doing or how to strategize to get you considered for your offer, then you're going to just be spinning your wheels and get frustrated.
Let's say out of the last 10 buyers that you have served, how many of them have been cash buyers? Just curious. Average.
2.
There's a 20%. Is that math right? I'm just checking.
Yep.
Okay, just checking. So in the meantime, once again, Valerie, people can reach out to you. You are Valerie Blank, RE/MAX Integrity. They could call you at
713-515-2135.
And you're also good friends, we found out, with our business development officer, Lynn Riddle, who is super awesome as well. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, I love Lynn. I've known her for at least 10 years now.
How about that?
And followed her around.
She's pretty awesome. So are you. Thank you for being on the show. The phone number again is 713-515-2135. Valerie Blank.
Thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate the opportunity.
As always, it's so interesting to talk to people in other cities and find out what's going on around the country. This week, we are going to go to Central Pennsylvania. That's right, my hometown. We have Deb Bangs with Century 21 Realty Services right there in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, right across the river from the capital, which is Harrisburg. Deb, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bill. Thank you so much for having me. I feel honored to have this opportunity.
Well, it's so great, too, because I think a lot of people, especially here in Houston and other places, may not be familiar with the abundant, great things that are happening right there in central Pennsylvania. As I said, Camp Hill is a beautiful little town. Sometimes I refer to as having a little bit of a Norman Rockwell quality for people that are old enough to know who he was in terms of his artwork. But it's a charming little town, and it's a super area. Let's tell people, first of all, Deb, about your company and some of the real estate activity going on right there in central PA.
Okay, I'd be happy to. I work with Century 21 Realty Services in Camp Hill. I service really a tri-county area, which includes Cumberland County, Dauphin, and Perry County. And the real estate market is hot. It's booming.
In fact, before I'm talking to you, I got on Realtor.com and put in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, and I do that with various cities. And when you see a lot of pendings, that's the sign that it's a very exciting market. Where are people coming from, and why do you think it's so active right now there in the Camp Hill, Harrisburg area?
Well, the reason it's active is really the reason it's active across the country. Inventory has been very low. Interest rates are still historically low. The number of buyers well outweigh the supply.
And do you see people, certainly you're serving people that want to move from, say, Camp Hill to Harrisburg, vice versa. Also, we want to mention the city of Hershey. Many people know Hershey chocolate. That's right around the corner. But are people moving all around from the Pennsylvania area, or are you seeing people from other states coming there?
I definitely am seeing people from other states as well, because our area just has so much to offer. We have affordable housing, low real estate taxes. We are within a few hours of New York City, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and even the beach. Temperature-wise, we don't have extremes. We have the beauty of the four seasons, but really no weather extremes. So yes, I do see people coming from New Jersey, New York, Virginia.
Well, that's a good point when you're talking about the extremes, because a lot of people, when they think Pennsylvania, they may think of Philadelphia, a big city. They think of Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh does have extreme winters. But as I grew up right there in Camp Hill, and you live there, it is kind of a mild winter. Yeah, you have snow, but you do get that nice slice of each season.
You really do. And you really get breaks within the seasons. And yes, we do get some snowfall, but nothing excessive.
And it's beautiful when that snow comes down. I think it's just a great setting in those areas that we're talking about. So let's tell people, as far as the price points right there, and we'll say Camp Hill, Harrisburg. Once again, Harrisburg, to me, Texans are familiar with Austin, Texas, and Harrisburg has a little bit, or vice versa, of the Austin, Texas thing because it's the capital city, and there's a river in front of Harrisburg as there is in Austin. So both very charming cities, but let's tell people a little bit about the price points there if they want to be in Camp Hill, which is really a nice area.
Well, I'll go with the Tri-County area, if that's okay. Again, that
Sure.
consists of Cumberland County, Perry County, and Dauphin County. And within that Tri-County area, the median sales price changed from $195,000 in October of 2019 to $229,900 in October of this year. So it went up about 18%. And we're seeing homes sell much quicker. Really within the sweet spot of, I would say, the $200,000 to the $300,000 price range. Many times they're selling in less than a week.
Well, and then as far as, let's say, if someone wanted to spend $300,000 in this area, what kind of inventory is there, if any, and what can you get for $300,000 up there?
Inventory is limited, but it is still, it's starting to increase a bit, but there is still a lot of competition. We are still seeing a number of offers, competitive offers coming in on properties. Some agents are saying not as much as they were, but we are still seeing competitive offers. And you can really get a great house in our area. You can get, I'll pull up a specific for you. So you could get a house in Hampton Township, $290,000 house with taxes of only $2,000 a year, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath.
I like the part about the taxes. Those are very low taxes compared to Houston.
Yes. Hampton and Silver Spring Township, which are a couple of the municipalities within the Mechanicsburg mailing address, those taxes are very, very low.
The other thing I'll mention, too, and probably other cities, but going back to Camp Hill, one of the unique things that you have in that market, and we'll take Market Street in Camp Hill, which is the center of the town. I've looked at real estate there at different homes through the years, and some of those homes go back to the 1900s. Now, certainly they've been refurbished and updated, but some of the homes have been there way early on. There are some old homes there. There are,
and there's such a variety of them, and they all have so much charm. Camp Hill is just a beautiful, beautiful area, whole surrounding area. Mechanicsburg too. You can go. Mechanicsburg has multiple townships, multiple municipalities within that mailing address. You can go out to Monroe Township and it gets more rural. There's more farmland, there's larger lots. All of these that I'm talking about, you're within very close proximity to our capital of Harrisburg.
And that's a great place to visit, too, in terms of history, seeing the older buildings. The other thing that I like about it that people may not know is that, again, compared to Houston, which is flat, it has great terrain. It's not that far to go to the mountains. It's hilly, it's very scenic, and once again, it's very close to, you can get to Baltimore quickly, you can get to the shores, New York City if you want to go there, and of course, a short hop to Hershey, Pennsylvania, which has its own charms. And here in Houston, we're known for our medical center where people come from all over the world to seek help there, but Hershey is also known for its medical center as well.
Yes, it is. And what you mentioned about the outdoors and the terrain here, you're correct. We have, beautiful mountains here. If you're an outdoor enthusiast, we have multiple access points to the Appalachian Trail. We have great areas even to rock climb or to kayak on the Susquehanna River, or there's beautiful creeks around here. It's just a beautiful place if you're into the outdoors. And like you said, Bill, Hershey is so close. We have Hershey Park, Hershey Chocolate World. We have the Hershey Hotel, which is a very elegant hotel with a spa. And we're also, if you're a history buff, we have the Gettysburg Battlefield very close by.
Tons of history up there, no doubt.
Yes, definitely. Of course, Philadelphia too, which you mentioned, is within a couple hours from us, and a lot of history there for sure.
No doubt about that. In fact, let's just back up to a second there to Hershey. They have great chocolate. I love the Hershey chocolate. But one of the things people don't know, unless they visited Hershey, when you go, their main street is Chocolate Avenue, and it used to be like this. I suppose it still is, but the street lights are Hershey Kisses, and one side has the Hershey Kiss wrapped, and the other side has it unwrapped. Right? Do they still have that?
Still remains the same way. I love that. Yes, that's something you can't forget.
And you mentioned history. I do want to reference something because my good friend, you are married to one of my best friends, Hoyt, who has been gone now a couple years, but you're married to his brother. But years ago, when Hoyt owned the helicopter company, one of the first helicopter rides I took with Hoyt and his pilot, we were in Philadelphia, and we talked about the history as we flew over these various areas. In fact, and they pointed out where Washington crossed the Delaware. So Pennsylvania and the surrounding states there, no doubt, are rich with tremendous history.
Without a doubt. And I didn't know you got to do that, Bill.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was interesting story.
Many helicopter rides. It was a lot.
Yeah.
There's no perspective like being up there in the helicopter in central Pennsylvania.
I have never done that in central Pennsylvania, only in Hawaii, but I'd love to have the opportunity to do it here.
It's not too
Yeah.
late, Deb.
Yeah.
So here's a question. As far as buyers go right now, let's say out of the last 10 buyers that you've served at any price point, just out of curiosity, Deb, how many of them have been cash buyers?
Well, it's interesting you bring that point up because the past few that I've dealt with have been cash. And yes, there seems to be more and more.
We're
Yes.
talking with Deb Bangs with Century 21 Realty Services in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, right across the river from the capital, which is Harrisburg. Well, Deb, before we have about a minute or so left, what else would you like people to know about your area in Pennsylvania and the real estate market? One thing I want to mention is that a lot of Houstonians, we have homes here in Houston, but a lot of them buy that second home in Colorado, Florida, other places. But my opinion is, I think it's overlooked that East Coast, especially central Pennsylvania, where you are. I think that's a great place for a Houstonian to have a second home. My opinion.
Well, I happen to agree with you, Bill.
I'm glad about that.
Just want to sum up again. We're so close, within a few hours of everything, really. Everything you can want. New York City, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., the beach. But we have a lot right here. We have the great outdoors, and we have a lot of history. All that with affordable housing and low taxes.
Not only that, I just thought in the fall, you have the great leaf activity there, the beautiful colors in Camp Hill and the surrounding areas. But also, should someone want to go to Maine or New England, you're just a hop away from that as well.
Exactly. Here, I'd be happy to help you find a home.
I'm sure you would, and I need to get up there soon. In the meantime, Deb, let's tell people how they can reach out to you. Deb Banks.
You can reach me easily by text or by phone. Call me at 717-440-2812, 717-440-2812, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have and to help you find your next home.
And that's 717-440-2812. Also, your husband, Michael, is probably listening to the show, so we want to say hello to him as well, right?
Hello, Mike. He's been a good assistant lately.
That's so awesome. Well, Deb, thanks for being on the show, and who knows, we may have some Houstonians want to get up there and meet with you.
That would be fantastic. I look forward to that. And thank you so much, Bill, again, for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827, stewartinsurance.com. That's stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is today on this fascinating insurance segment. Once again, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance. John, welcome to the show.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Bill.
The insurance segment, far and wide. People are talking about it, not just here in Houston at the time of broadcast, but I'm getting emails outside of the Houston area, sometimes East Coast, sometimes West Coast. They say more insurance, and we're bringing it to them.
It's been crazy. I've been having to use a pseudonym when I make reservations for dinner these days.
Well, that's true. People do know you. In fact, and no joke, on the Facebook, what's interesting is views on your insurance segment time after time, sometimes exceeding other guests, and we always have great guests.
We always have fantastic guests.
Something about insurance. Well, today, what should we talk about?
Well, today I wanted to share a little bit about how Stewart Insurance can be a resource for your real estate business and your family. That there are three ways that we can really, help, and wanted to share those today with our audience.
Well, I'm sure they're fascinating and informative. How can they help? How can you all help the realtor?
Well, the first two we're going to look at would be the first two of the first three would be for our real estate business partners, and then the third we can do for everybody. But the first would be continuing education classes that, as Jeremy talked about, it's important to continue to grow and learn and expand. And, we can do that and help that with our continuing education classes. We are licensed to offer those in the state of Texas. I can do those for any real estate broker. I can do them in person, or I can do them live online. So we can work through those scheduling. But we've got three that we offer that are really been popular, and we're already starting to schedule them for 2022, which is exciting. So we've got Property Insurance Essentials, which is 2 hours, and that gives the real estate professional a really basic idea of how an insurance company looks at property. We have the Two Sides of Water, which is a 2-hour class. Insurance companies look at water damage two ways. There's coverage that could be part of a home policy, and there's coverage that could be part of a flood policy. So what are those differences? How are they unique? And what are the things you need to look for in those policies? So that's the second class. And the third class, which is 3 hours, is real estate liability. And that basically teaches you how to protect your license. Teaches you what are some of the concerns that can happen and how insurance can help you with that. But beyond those courses, we've adapted over these last couple of years and have helped many clients and just kind of friends of the firm in a variety of ways. I have a property management firm here in Houston that I know that she wants to educate her vendor partners on the insurance that they ought to cover. So we're working now for me to come and speak to them. I've done several classes this summer for new home buyers. What are some things you need to look at in your first home insurance policy? What are some things that you want to consider for a real estate broker in Houston? I came and visited with their new agents and gave them just kind of an overview of insurance and what to consider. Our president, Tom Carpentier, did our presentation last week to a group of title and attorney agents in Pennsylvania on cyber threats and how to reduce your exposure and offset risks through insurance. So we're providing a variety of educational tools out there to help our insurance partners grow and succeed. So that's one. The second would be insurance plan guidance. So whether you're an individual, a family, or a real estate business, we can help you become properly insured to make sure that the plan that you have right now is the plan that's most appropriate for you, whether it's the most extensive or one that fits your budget. That's what we're here to do. So whether it be your home insurance, flood, auto, wind, renters, or on the business side, and errors and emissions, professional liability, cyber liability, general liability, business owners policies, we can help you with that. And then the third is the Real Estate Matters radio show. It's
right
a way
here.
to come.
We're doing it right now.
Here. One of the chapters in Jeremy's books is Get Out of Your Comfort Zone. And what a great way to do that is to come on the radio show and tell us about your business. What makes your real estate brokerage unique? As a realtor, what makes you unique? A business coach that supports the real estate industry, come and share that knowledge with our listeners. It's really a fantastic way to help grow your business, because one of the great things that you do for our guests, Bill, is you provide the segment for them, and they can turn around and use that segment to market themselves. And I know that we've had guests that have generated business because people heard them on the radio show.
No doubt. And what is interesting is how a guest, whether it's a real estate professional, an author, or anything else, what they do after the fact. We do a lot of things. We individualize a segment, put it on Facebook, YouTube, and sometimes even more. But what's interesting is to see, we had one realtor on a consistent basis. She takes that Facebook 10-minute, 12-minute segment and consistently gets over 1,700 views. Sometimes one of the appearances hit a 2,000 mark. That's amazing. And we learn about people. The guests learn about each other. There's connections made. We can go on about the benefits, but it is interesting to see what happens in this Real Estate Matters room that we do this through these many years. It's fascinating. And getting out of the comfort zone, there have been many people, none here today, I don't think, but it's so interesting when we have a guest on. And sometimes they'll say, "Hey, I'm really nervous." Okay, well, then we work through that. We've never not worked through it where someone, except one time on a remote location, someone said, "I'm just not doing this." But outside of that, going over 1,000 guests now with 407 shows, we've never had that happen. Everybody gets the job done, and they're usually very happy. And when they're done, they say, "Wow, I'm really glad I did that," because you're getting to that next level, especially if you are afraid of public speaking and you're in any, whether it's a radio or something else, if you're in any kind of communication profession, and most of us are, whatever you're doing, challenge yourself. If you're afraid of public speaking, get on the radio, get in front of 2 people, 50 people, whatever you can, because you will feel better about yourself. And I could go on with stories like this that have resulted from this show where people that had got several $1 million. I won't mention the name. This person was making over several $1 million. And he came to me after a meeting and said, "Look, I need to be more comfortable. Help me." Anyway.
Well, I'm really disappointed for our friends in the business when they have that opportunity to be considered a guest and they don't take that opportunity. It doesn't, to me, make sense. And I really feel for them because they're missing an opportunity. I'm working with a prospective guest right now. The contact I have with that company, I'm not going to do it. I'm not good at that. I'm not clear at that. And I've said, it's just like you and I sitting here having a cup of coffee.
People talking.
It's just 2 people talking. And with Bill doing the interviewing, it's even more comfortable. And he'll find somebody within his company to do that. But that individual with the company will be the one that'll grow and succeed and support their clients better because they took the time to invest and get out of that comfort zone, but also to let the folks that listen both at 5 o'clock on Sundays on KPRC 950 AM, as well as the iHeartMedia app, as well as Stewart.com/radio. The education that's brought about from the show is just fantastic.
And one of the things people may not know, especially when they're afraid to be on the radio, we do some fantastic editing, so we can polish it up in sometimes unrecognizable ways. Just saying.
Well, and the only reason that I've survived however many the year and a half, 2 years that I've been with you is as your fantastic editing. Well, and our friend William behind me as well.
And he's listening too. So, John, as we think about what people should know, what else should they know about what you're doing? It is a good time to remind people at least 2 things. Number one, yes, you're doing the classes out there. However, I also want to remind them that if they want to be properly insured with any kind of insurance, homeowners, watercraft, motorcycles, the famous umbrella policy that we don't get to talk about enough. However, you're helping people not just in Houston, around the United States, too.
That's absolutely true. So we have clients all over the U.S. I'm working with a client right now in Florida on their renewal program, and I've got another one in Missouri that I'm working with. So we have clients all over.
One of the other things you said early on about the insurance companies want to know certain things about the property. They always, as I look at properties to buy every now and then, it's kind of been a second career for me. But when I do, I always want to check how much will this home, if I buy it, be to insure. They always ask, how old's the roof?
Absolutely.
Sometimes you don't even know how old the roof is, but the insurance company wants to know. It's always nice to say it's brand new or a year old. That's super.
That's not just solely for a homeowner. If I'm doing a commercial property for a client or a prospective client, we're looking at how old the roof is, what kind of building it is, when was the wiring repaired, when was the HVAC repaired, when was HVAC replaced. So we're looking at that all the time.
John, I'm getting a feeling someone in Pennsylvania right now is wanting to give you a call. It's a husband and wife. What number should they call?
866-798-2827. If that same husband and wife in Pennsylvania would like for us to educate their brokers. I may not be able to do a CE class for them, but we can provide some education. They can call me at 866-798-2827. Or if they'd like to be considered a guest on Real Estate Matters, they can reach me at 866-798-2827.
There you go. Or go to stewartinsurance.com. John Bramlett, thank you so much for being on the show once again and for guiding us through navigating us through the waters of insurance.
Always a pleasure, Bill.
As we welcome Jeremy Williams with Red Hawk Coaching back. Hey, Jeremy, what else should we know before we close up the show?
I think one of the biggest things to know, especially if you're a real estate agent working in this world today, is that people want relationships. And there's so many tools that are being pushed out into the market for real estate agents to use in growing their business that really focus on automation. And I really think in the last couple of years, with everybody being, fortunately in Texas, we've had a great opportunity to be a little bit more free in what we do, is that people want relationships, and delivering customer service through those great relationships, I think, is what's really going to set agents apart in today's market. So you can reach me by visiting redhawkcoaching.com, and you can schedule a discovery call there, or you can call me at 281-387-7689.
Again, the number is
281-387-7689.
Thank you, Jeremy Williams. And now she is back, Valerie Blank with RE/MAX Integrity. Valerie?
As I said earlier, make sure you interview several agents and hire a qualified person. I personally have 16 designations and a lot of continuing ed, and I am a broker associate. And my favorite designation is my only fake one, but it was an honorary one given to me by the owners of my RE/MAX office, and it's DGR, which stands for Darn Good Realtor.
That is probably one of the best. DGR, Valerie Blank. Valerie, how can people reach you?
713-515-2135 is my direct line, or valsthekey.com.
The number again is?
713-515-2135.
Also want to thank, once again, Lynn Riddle, Business Development Officer at Stewart Title, doing awesome work. You're right there in the Spring Champions area, and the number is 346-225-7993. Lynn Riddle. Thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik, together with John Bramlett, Tom Carpentier, Will Melbourne, and so many more. Thank you for listening. Check us out next week. That's right, Dr. Ted C. Jones, the eighth wonder of the real estate world and our chief economist at Stewart Title. Yes, just another distinction of Stewart Title. We have a chief economist and a radio show and so much more. Go to stewart.com/radio to hear this show again and again, or any past 405 shows. Right there, stewart.com/radio. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying the holiday season.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. 866-798-2827.